Hi everyone, it's Mike here. I thought today I would do another one of those magazine page photograph kind of painted blended kind of pages. That doesn't really make much sense, does it? I'll just show you what I mean. I did this one recently from a David Hockney picture that was sent to me in Happy Mail. Now this is from a magazine, and I blended this with the background and repainted it and added my wordage, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, seeing as you all enjoyed the way I did that and I blended in the actual magazine picture into the background, that I would do something similar this time with something a bit more monochromatic. So I will show you exactly what I've done. So today I'm going to be working in my 10 by 10 journal, and I discovered this photograph online, and it was from one of those public domain websites where I think the British Library and that kind of stuff are releasing photographs and releasing pages from old books and illustrations and all that kind of thing. This was on one of those public domain sites that that you can use in your personal projects, that kind of stuff. And it was total black and white. So what I've done is I brought it into my Adobe Photoshop, and I've electronically hand tinted the lad here who's leaping over his friend with a green jumper, and I've just added some flesh tones to his face and a little bit of brown to his hair. And I just wanted to create a kind of just a colour pool in the centre just to draw your eyes in, and I'm going to utilise this image in an art journal page today. So this is going to be one of those dip in and dip out kind of videos again. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but I want to use that today. So I'm going to utilise the whole thing. I'm probably going to tear the edges just to hide those and tear it more around the buildings and that kind of thing to blend the edges in. And I may even tear into the paving slabs down here at the bottom. So again, it's another freeform page. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and make a start, and then if I want to talk to you, that sounds awful, but if I need to let you know anything, then I will stop the music, slow it down, and then I'll just come back in again. So, right, off we go. Okay, so I've kind of torn around the edges and just softened those up a little bit. This will help when I try and blend out, let's take that little corner off there. When I try and paint out the edges of this. So because I've got a straight line down here, this is where I'm going to sit the image on my journal page, and then I'm going to paint in the rest of the details. So I probably will follow that wall back out this way. I'm not going to say that I'm going to paint in all these bricks, but who knows. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, first of all, is get this stuck down, which is going to involve a lot of matte medium, the matte medium, and then I can bring out the paints. Well, I've actually already sorted out my paints. I've brought out my very inexpensive Artiste acrylic paints. So these are the British equivalent, if you like, of the Deco Art Americana ones. So very, very inexpensive. So I have black, or noir, if you're being posh. We have Storm Cloud, which is an off-white. I didn't want to use stark white because I'm going to be mixing these together to create grey tones. I've brought in a little bit of the chocolate brown. Now this is so that I can mix it in with the grey to make it a kind of warm grey. And because I've used green and flesh tones in the highlighting of this young character here, I've also got my Christmas green and I've got a flesh colour. So I'm going to be using these two colours as the highlights for my layering on my page as well. So those are the 4 colours that I've got, 5 colours that I've got. So I've already got those out. My colour palette is already sorted. And if you want to see it all together, there you have it. So that is my colour palette for this page, and as you can see, it does kind of fit rather nicely. Okay, so I'll put those to one side, and my first job is to get this stuck down onto my page. Okay, so that's stuck down nicely, and as you saw, I did put some of the matte medium on the back of the image and then transferred it on, then went over and then smoothed out the bubbles as I was placing it down onto the paper, like you would do with wallpaper, if people still put wallpaper on the walls. So that's how I've done that. So I've just smoothed out the bubbles. There aren't any bubbles underneath there at all. There are also no wrinkles for the first time in a long time for me. So I'm going to pop away my Mod Podge, because I'm not going to need that for a bit. And then I'm just going to bring in my paints. I'm going to start putting down the first layers to kind of blend these in. So I'm going to be using the Storm Cloud to start off with. And I'm just going to use a kind of medium kind of, this is a filbert. So I'm just going to use that to add the paint in here. I'm going to add as it is, directly onto the page. I've not pre-gessoed the pages because I don't really think it needs it. So I'm going to start adding the paint in, and if I think it's blending in quite nicely, then we'll go ahead and carry on with it. I have got some other size brushes that I'm going to be using as well. So I have also got an angle brush there. I've got a smaller detail brush, and I've got an even smaller line brush there, so I can maybe add in some details on the paving here if I want to continue on these as well. And I've also got a bit of a mop brush. Now this is because I want to blend out some of that. I don't want any kind of too many painterly brush strokes on this. So this is what this mop brush is for, just to help get rid of those brush strokes, and it will blend in the colours. Not mix the colours together, but it will help blend any lines that I don't want to appear. So these are the brushes that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and start adding the colours now to my background. And I've also got a pencil somewhere, he says. There it is. I've got a pencil here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roughly sketch out the continuation lines of where I think these are disappearing off to. So really just kind of continuing on with the sweeps of that wall there. And that kind of tells me where I need to concentrate and do the blending in with my colours. So just follow the line of that paving slab there, and that one too, and that will then tell me, so probably following the line of perspective there and following the line, it's just off the page there, so I think we're okay. So there isn't one there, but following that, probably going that way, and as we've got the same width there, across there like so, and then there may be another one following the right line. It's quite difficult to gauge perspective lines, but let me see if I can get a ruler. That may help me a little bit. So following that line down there, excuse me if I get my head in shot. I mean, this doesn't have to be, you know, 100% accurate, but it does help if, you know, you follow the same kind of lines. Now there's one there, so if I just draw that in there, and is there one I can follow there? Pretty much, but that's a new paver there, so it doesn't look like these are actually placed down in a regular pattern. So I think probably there's a line coming down that way. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother. I'll just leave that as that is for now. So again, there's no more lines to be followed up here. There's no television aerials and that kind of thing. Probably because this photograph was taken before televisions were commonplace. And we'll just have the end of that Lennox Road plaque there. Okay, I know I'm putting in the detail again that I've already taken out by ripping that, but this is just going to help me gauge where I need to put paint down and what kind of colours I need to put down. Okay, so let's get started. So as I said, I am going to do this directly onto the page because I want to start adding in the layers. And I think if I need to, I can always add a little bit of colour in there, just to tone it in a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do is just bring that line of paint down. And this is where your little detail brushes come in as well. Because you can always add detail back in. So even if you paint over something, it's not a huge crisis. Right, I'm going to put some music on for you, and then I'm going to disappear off because I'll start to concentrate and then I'll stop talking and then we'll have a really uncomfortable silence. So I'm going to go away now and paint, and you can watch. Okay, so I have my first kind of coat down. That's going to allow me to, when dry, I can then go over this and start adding in some more detail. Now I've tried to keep the lines that you can see from the shadow from the lamppost and the line of that wall so I can continue on with that colour. And I've added in some extra green to it because as I was putting the brown, the grey down, because there's a kind of greenish cast to this as well, it just felt right that I added in some more green to the grey. So we've actually got a greeny grey going on now. So I will carry on with this, and you saw me wipe up some of the paint while it's still a little bit wet, just to make sure that I'm not obscuring too much of the detail as I'm painting this in. And where the matte medium's gone down on this side, obviously that's moved a little bit and has made it a little bit lighter. So I can compensate for that. It's just a question now of, I know I'm going to concentrate and I'll probably focus on what I'm doing. So probably for the rest of the video now, it'll just be a case of you watching me adding the layers and layers on. And then when we get to the stage where I want to add in some text and some writing, which is probably going to go across the top here and moving across the bottom here, then that's when I'll probably stop it again, and you will see me clean up and tidy up and mix and match with the different colours. So enough from me, I will carry on and you can listen to the music. Okay, I'm going to call that a day. I'm going to leave this for about half an hour just to dry, and then I'm going to come back in and write my quote. So hopefully I've blended the paving in quite nicely, I've blended that brick wall in quite nicely, and I've also blended in the sky. So it kind of draws the eye away from the edge of the piece of paper, like here on the lamppost. And I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm just going to have a coffee break because that's empty, and then when I come back I'll add in some a quote or a phrase. So I'm all caffeined up again. Right, so this time I'm just going to draw a couple of guidelines with a ruler and pencil so I can move that into the middle a little bit. I'm only going to go very, very lightly so that I've got somewhere just to work to. And I'm just going to keep the lines pretty light so that I know I can go back and rub them out. And then I'm just going to draw one down here as well because I want to continue on with what I'm writing up here, down here. So the quote's going to go step, step, and then down here. So, and it's just going to be a fairly straightforward one. And this is why I like to plan out my writing on my pages. It's too far over to the right, and I've started too far over to the right, the left. I don't know my left from my right today. It's too far over to the left, so I want to move it further to the right, and definitely the same thing again here. So, which is fine, because what I can do is I can actually do that. I can write it with the pen and then leave it to dry, and then I can rub out the pencil marks. So at least I know if I start with the R where the E is, I'm going to be happy with that. So I shall just do that, pop some music on, and then speed through to the end. Oh, before I do that, because I'm writing on acrylic, I am using a food ball pen, or food A ball pen, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So off we go again. Okay, so I'm going to give that a blast with a heat gun just to see whether I can hurry the drying of the food ball pen up. And as you saw, I did make a mistake with the spelling, but while it was still wet, I was able to remove it with a wet wipe and then that's not really spoilt anything, so I'm not too bothered. And this is another reason why I like using the football pens, because you can do stuff like that. So here we go. I'm just going to give it a blast to dry it. There appears to be a hair stuck on the page. Gotcha. Right, if I'm careful, we should now be able to remove the pencil marks. Make sure I've got a clean bit of eraser. There's no point starting off with a dirty bit. And then just this one at the bottom. Now this probably will do it more than others because it was the last thing that I actually wrote. I'm happy with that. So all I want to do now, just to finish it off, is just to sign and date it. And I'm going to do that along the edge of the shadow here. In fact, I'm going to do it in the shadow. April 16, there we go. That's it. I'm not going to do any more to it. I don't think it needs any more. Don't want to add a border around it. I'm happy with it exactly as it is, so that'll do for me. So I hope you enjoyed watching that page come to fruition, if that's the right word to use. And if you enjoy these kind of pages and want to see more of me doing them, then just leave a comment in the comment section below the video, and I'll see if I can find some more photographs that I think will blend well into a background and that can be incorporated into something a bit more. So yeah, comment away. So if you did enjoy that, please remember to give it a thumbs up because it really does help. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And that's all from me for now. I will see you all again real soon. Bye for now. Jazz hands. Where did they come from? I know. Do you love me? Do you love me? Good. It's all right then.